Hello there everyone, welcome back to some more Let's Play Pathologic. In the last video, we just completed the first half of the redo of day 3. Having woken up, talked to the Canes, and they informed us that Simon's body and Reuben were both missing. The house Reuben had been in and was conducting the examination on Simon's body was also found to have been infested with the disease. Thus, it probably had scabs on the front of it, or was oozing blood, or other such horrific signs or indications that the disease is within that structure. We were told we might want to talk with Vlad the Younger, Vlad Ogimsky Jr., in order to figure out maybe where Reuben could have brought the body if he indeed was the last person to possess it. We talked to Vlad the Younger, and he said he'd help us if we could get the Canes to stop pressuring their family to let agents in to inspect the termitary. It's dangerous to get into the termitary. There's a riot currently going on there, a revolution, a strike, if you will, because they are unhappy with something. Actually, we know that Vlad the Younger started the riot to force Vlad the Senior to close down the cemetery from day 1. Anyway, he mentioned that tell the Canes that the termitary was closed a day before the polyhedron had been shut down. The termitary consists of, as we know, all these step workers that are working on the bull project, killing the bulls and I guess cows or cattle that are in with the abattoir. The polyhedron contains the children from hundreds of families here in town, which are supposedly now in quarantine within that strange structure. We went back to the Canes and told them this. They said, darn it. Well, we don't want anyone going into the polyhedron because we are confident that it is safely quarantined. We'll believe the Ogimskys that the termitary is as well, but if we hear anything that convinces us otherwise, we will put pressure on them again to let us in and take a look. We told Vlad the Younger this. He then told us that Reuben should have contacted us by now, or even them. It was very strange that he has not, so something must have happened to Reuben. In addition to that, he believes that some butchers were the ones who have stolen Simon's corpse, and he gave us the location of where the runaway butchers would be located. We went up there and killed those 2 butchers, searched their house, and we left with a few trinkets, and with the knowledge that there was indeed a body that they were dissecting within it. Apparently the butchers do this to certain bodies to use their entrails to see into the future. Anyway, we were proceeding to walk back to the Canes with this information when we got a letter from Reuben, which urged us to meet him in the slums. So we are now heading over in that direction. Alright, and let's pick up where we left off and go ahead and get this done. So, well, not get this done. We have a lot of time before we're done with this game. But I mean, go and talk with Reuben. Oh, we didn't get a... Oh, we did get a... Sorry. I'm still trying to get my head around the fact that I'm on day 3 at the moment, not day 2. Now, we want to stop into all the food places and see if we have any bread, dried meat, or milk. Just a lemon. I've been in this shop before. Lemons do not cure your hunger. They instead, I believe they cure your exhaustion 10%? But I think they make you hungry by 10%, and I don't think that's a good trade-off. Yeah, not at all. Though I think that's a good trade-off. Alright, so we want to go this way. It just occurs to me, funnily enough, I mentioned several times that we should talk to people even if we don't have a quest for them as we pass by their places, but I am not doing so at the moment. I am avoiding talking to basically anybody. This is because we will be forced to talk to several people and be in the area of these their homes a little later. And so I don't really want to stop by and talk to them now for fear of doing things out of order. It's a very strange thing. You want to talk to everybody, but you don't want to do it out of order if you can help it. Now, supposedly the location we're going to is secret. No one knows where Ruben's prosectorium actually is, but it's right on our map. So that's really handy. I'm surprised actually that they didn't, like, that the place actually is on our map. Oh, but Sticky's house is on our map too, so I guess it makes sense. Would have been neat if these locations weren't even marked on your map until you were told about them to start. And we can immediately see that the body is not in fact here.
Time is of the essence.
Dear colleague, by some happy coincidence, I managed to get my hands on a certain vessel that I believe I can recover the pathogen from, which means we are now all set to research the vaccine. But, odd as it may sound, I'd rather avoid tapping into that source I mentioned, unless I absolutely have to. I'd rather examine the samples that can be procured from the dead tissue. So this makes it sound to me that he has access to someone alive who has the virus running in his veins. But he'd rather avoid accessing that because he would much rather get the samples from dead people instead. I don't know why we just don't ask another living person to stop by and we'll take a blood sample from them. But apparently that's not what we're going to do. Where is Simon, colleague? We ourselves are still interested in examining Simon's body. We still want to be able to keep our laboratory around when all this is said and done. I keep him at an ice cellar, not far from here. Gregory is infuriated. Why didn't you inform him of where you took the body? Because I'm not done with it yet. Besides, I'm all alone here. The moment I had an opportunity to send a message outside, I used it to bring you here. Your presence is more important than the other considerations right now. Would you kindly hear what my request is? What do you want to ask of me? I was going to ask you to bring a sample or two from one of the infected quarters. Be doubly careful, though, and make sure to get the dissection fully cleared with one of the rulers. Else the risk would be twice as high as needs be. I'd go myself, but there are reasons that make it impossible for me to leave Simon's body unattended. I suspect that Simon is not actually dead, based on this. We had a small discussion about that in the last video, but maybe even Simon is the vessel that he mentioned briefly. He's alive and actually still has the virus in him. That's not so difficult as it is, but I need to take samples. And thus I need syringes, sterile containers, ice packs. I see none of those here. As they searched for Isidore's killer, those savages wrought havoc on what laboratory equipment we had. And after the rumors of your discovery reached the townsfolk, most medicaments and reagents were stolen. Regrettably, I was unable to control it. Without necessary equipment, our task is impossible. You realize that, don't you? Do pay a visit to Governor Subrov. I wouldn't go to Vlad if I were you. He's too resourceful and too inclined to drag you into his schemes. The Canes are also out of the question, as anything that leads Gregory to me would likely result in Simon's body being removed, and I still have a lot of work to do. So, I don't trust anyone else to actually be able to successfully get the sample we need. And everyone's probably going to be too afraid of the dead bodies. At least this would be my belief, to actually go and take a tissue sample from someone. And if we don't have syringes, they're not going to have them either. So, I think we are probably the best person to complete this task. Sounds reasonable. I'll see you soon. So, up to the rod. But first...
The blessed fool is making the rounds of the local rabble.
You're still not being entirely sincere with me, colleague. Tell me about Simon. Well, the initial diagnosis was supported. There is no doubt that Simon died to sand plague. And yet you're still studying the body. Why? I want to see what the disease can do to human internal organs. I need more time for that. I didn't even perform an autopsy yet. And I thought you wanted to see if Simon has the same anatomy as a regular human being, which is exactly what we want to do. Simon may have actually risked his life in order to provide us with literally the body of evidence we would need to prove that you can live for you don't have to die, at least through natural means. You see through me, Bachelor. This is indeed my purpose. And this is the reason why I cannot give the body back. I hope you won't tell the Canes where I am. Oh, so he indeed wants to do the same thing that I want to do. I am interested to know what his autopsy will reveal, but on that same note, if the Canes do ask me directly for the body, like, does Ruben still have the body? I don't know if I'll be able to lie about it. But I'll try my best. Actually, no, I'll say this instead. Oh. I doubt I will be able to lie if the Canes ask me directly. I urge you not to do it. Simon is the key to our salvation. We need to study him as much as possible. Don't throw the opportunity away. You demand that I enter an agreement with my own conscience, Ruben. I do. In circumstances such as these, we have to sacrifice everything for the common good. I suppose if it comes down to it, and the Canes find out that Ruben does still have the body, that's good news, I suppose, at least. For the Canes, because the body was not destroyed or stolen to be ransomed. On that same note, though, I suppose I could lie and say that Ruben didn't tell us he had the body. Even if Ruben says that, no, he totally did, we can say, no, he didn't. it's our word against his. So, very well. I won't tell them anything.
Yes.
We could ask if Ruben could go and get the body parts, and we instead stay here to do the examination of the diseased blood. We are, after all, still a doctor, even if we're not perhaps a disease specialist. Perhaps we should switch places. Would you be able to apply the herbal tinctures to the specimen? To prepare the reagents to adjust their potency? Working with herbs requires knowledge and experience. We have nothing but herbs to work with. Besides, the Canes hold me personally responsible for my precious patient. Very well. How many samples do you need? I will keep working until we are able to isolate the microbe. I don't understand why we can't see the culture yet. There are traces of plenty, but not the bacteria themselves. Oh, shall we perhaps invite an infected person right here? Out of the question. Without anything to protect ourselves, we will surely die. In fact, developing these means of protection is precisely the purpose of our unpleasant and criminal work. We saw a diseased person, and we did not get disease right away, although we did flee the house immediately. Besides, our doctor agrees to this. You're right. There must be some other option.
I haven't slept for 3 nights straight. I don't think I'll manage another one.
So, although our doctor, well, if he got actually into the TARDIS and went back in time, then he has been into an infected quarter. But realistically, we're just, redoing the stuff we've done. We have been in an infected quarter, you and I, viewer, but our doctor has not. But I'm still going to say this. The infected quarter is hell on Earth. It's absolutely impossible to survive there. Do you have any antibiotics at all? Any kind of immune system stimulants? None whatsoever. I don't have any medicine here. Truth be told, this is one of the reasons I would prefer not to enter the infected quarter myself. Now, that's unfortunate. Rumor has it that the Ogimskis have organized the distribution of medicine among a few of the more important townspeople. I had to stay away here in hiding, so I did not get any of that. But some of the people you've come to know here will only be too happy to help. Good thinking. I'll follow your advice. So that probably means going and talking with Vlad, since he is in charge of distributing the medicines. So we're going to swing past Vlad's now, even if I decide not to talk to Vlad Sr. I would like to talk to Capella. So we'll do that on our way back up to Soborov's. And I suppose while we're walking up to Soborov's, we'll stop by here, and then I'll do what I did the last time. We'll go across the bridge, go past Willows and talk to Anna Angel, and then we'll talk also to Andrei Stamatin about all the things I did not talk to him about. Since we have not been to Andrei Stamatin with this character of ours, our doctor. He does tell you different things on the first and second day, by the way. I highly recommend you go and talk with him if you're playing the doctor. He can give you some insight into what's going on those days. At least on day 2, I believe.
Do you know anything about the disease?
Would you like me to reveal the secret of a miraculous remedy for the sand plague? It's dangerous, mind you. I'm all ears, Capella. Yeah, see, I don't understand this. We call her Victoria, but her name is Capella? And she mentioned that she had her mother's name, but she doesn't here. And everyone refers to her as either Victoria or Capella, so I think there's probably some translation issue here. I'm mentioning this only because of how confused I was my initial time through, but the first 3 days. Have you ever seen antique boxes with chalky or bluish powder inside? It is already fossilized in some of them. Have you already heard of the powders, dubbed schmouters sometimes? Tell me, I'm eager to hear this story from someone as honest and reasonable as you appear to be. The powders are secret remedies that people have been keeping since the first outbreak. Before it all started, one boy, his name was Crowfoot, he died later, inspired the children to play Epidemic. They were making these powders. So if I am wrong about the intro video where all the kids were bearing a body and how that's a play or a story and we are actually acting that out, then those kids were probably playing the Epidemic game instead. What is... Wait, actually this is interesting as well. Wait a minute. Are you saying they used to play Epidemic before even the first outbreak? Indeed. Whoa. I never thought about it like that. What a strange coincidence. Still, that's not important. We won't be able to learn anything from them anyway. The inventors of the game are now in heavens. That's not what I wanted to speak with you about. So, it's a good thing that the kids played Epidemic and kind of made these schmouters, although several of them died. They did save the lives of several people by complete accident. You remember that the schmouters are basically like playing Russian roulette now. Only certain kids' schmouters actually worked to heal the disease, and they still got very sick from them. Some kids' schmouters just killed other kids, and some just made them very sick or did not work at all. Only those who had grabbed the correct types of drugs and mixed them together were able to create these curative powders. Unfortunately, those recipes are all long gone, and all the caches are gone too, or raided, and the schmauters distributed to all the various children, and thus no one knows which schmauter is capable of healing any longer. Then speak, Victoria. I am listening. Some children stole various drugs for their game. They chose the prettiest ones, of course. Then they crushed the pills in a mortar, mixed them, and wrapped the mixture into fresh leaves of fragment steppe swevery for safekeeping. Why did they choose this very herb? Swervy does indeed have healing properties. But that's not the point, of course. Beaker's brothers, for example, didn't wrap their powders at all. It was they who introduced the fashion of using antique boxes. The effect of their remedies was the same. So in other words here, she's telling us that Swervy didn't seem to do anything when it came to the remedies that they created. Effectively just putting them in the antique boxes performed the same task. So unless the boxes were made of some special wood or scented with Swervy as well or something of that sort, there's no link to what they were wrapped in. It's the powder itself that matters. Where are these powders now? All over the place. Some are stored in caches in the houses where the children used to play infirmary. The powders were lethally dangerous, you see. If anyone was to take that much drugs, it would damage their health horribly. But the children begged to differ, like they always do. They helped once, so what if they do so again? Is a line of reasoning. And what do you think? Some of them undoubtedly help. They poison the body, true, but they also poison the sand dirt out. I have no idea how it works. Perhaps there are antibiotics in the mixture. Others are indeed lethal, and every single one of them is extremely detrimental to your health. I have no doubts about that. The thing is, the kids were recently reminded of one of the caches. They've pried it open, and now they cannot wait to test the acquired powders in an infected district. Loafer, Beaker's younger brother, has already gone to do the testing. The fool! Where exactly? To the Silent House, I believe. That is where the infection began to spread from in the first place. And besides, it's connected to this terrible man-eater story. Children are always attracted to horror stories. Oh no, I think you can stop them. If you ban the game, they'll listen to you. You are a celebrity doctor after all. So they have a whole cache of these powders stocked there, huh? They have probably only taken a few, but they know the places, so they will continue getting more and getting poisoned again and again. It's a lottery. No one can remember which powder is which, what the recipe was. It's going to be cured or die situation. Alright, we'll drag Loafer out of this, and perhaps I'll find a use for the powders too.
I feel a current in my veins.
Do you know any chance where the dead are brought these days, Capella? Are you going to work with the dead yourself? Are you serious? Or am I mistaken? I don't really have a choice. There are some butchers on the loose. It was not so long ago that I could have commanded them in my father's name, and they would have brought you anything. They have the power and the right to break their Erdog's bonds. But now, after the riot, our name doesn't carry the same punch. So, I can say, basically, I can ask her, I can say that, oh, okay, thank you, Capella. Don't bother, though, trying to get them to do anything. I'll just do it all myself, after all. Or we can say, if you have any power, Capella, tell them to bring any bodies to the warehouses. Because we've turned one into a field prosectorium. We're not mentioning Ruben's name here, but this might get us in trouble. Although we did just tell her that we're going to be working with the dead bodies anyway. I have no right to disclose the place publicly. I'd rather do everything myself, like in the good old university times. The butchers are not known for their long tongues. It's still unnecessary. Yeah, I won't ask for help with
Is it
that.
really lethal?
Yes, unfortunately, Capella, it is. Tell me, Victoria, when is your father planning to unlock the termitary? Not until the specialized medicine arrives. Several thousands of people live there. They cannot be allowed to get infected. Is it known for a fact that there are no sick people inside? It is known for a fact that no one gets sick in the polyhedron. Not a single person has left it since the very beginning of the epidemic, and now the children are notifying their parents that they are all in good health. The parents themselves are begging the children to stay inside. That didn't answer our question, Capella. Can you honestly swear to me that it's the same with the termitary? I really hope so. Father knows what he's doing. All right. It doesn't sound like she's so sure, does she? And again, I'm brought back to my initial rejection of making a deal with Vlad, because I suspect the disease is indeed in the cemetery. And the whole place probably looks like the infected district at this point. Hello, little one. Do you have any ammunition? You do. We might as well get rid of the fish hooks. Oh, I thought there was a food place here. There is. This is indeed a food place. Oh, I missed a sign several times, even though I was looking up at it. A food district, a food shop. Okay, dried meat is good. Only $3.30 for the price, too. I'm not going to buy the vegetables, though. $8.25 is kind of expensive for them. We'll take this. Now, everyone, I am also doing a little bit of work today. I am, as you probably know by now, working from home. I'm busy compiling on the other computer, and I can't do any work until that's done. And it's an old, well, the system's rather old, and there's a ton of stuff to compile. What I'm basically saying is that I'm going to have to put a break or two into this Let's Play. Unfortunately, there's no way around it. I'm going to have to do so. But right now, I can't do anything. I have to wait for it to finish. It will take about 30 minutes. I've been playing for just about 30 minutes, so we'll go in and talk to Anna Angel, and then I'm going to put a small cut here, and I'll be back afterwards, later on today, to do more recording.
Life is hard.
Alright, she doesn't have anything to say. Not about anything that's happening today. So let's go then, and I suppose we'll enter the tavern, but I'm going to put a small break here, everyone, so that I can, again, go back to work. 2 o'clock? 1 o'clock. Everyone, be right back. Hey everyone, alright, I'm back. It's been quite a few hours, almost 8 if the clock is correct. Woof. Long day, very long day. Alright, so, I need to remember my statistics. So we're getting hungry, and we are beginning to get a little tired. Probably could use a little rest. But we're here for a little talking. We're here to see Andrei Stamatin. The first time that our doctor will speak to him. Hello,
Yes.
Hello.
Who would have thought the plague is on our doorstep? So, it has come to this.
Oh, I just realized he said plague. I kept thinking he said plank whenever he would respond with that. I see the dust of my beloved capital on this man's feet. I bet you must have met me. Wait a second. The uni? Were it you juggling knives on the table? Ah, remember the time when we got the better of those bastards, huh? And you sat there all quiet, but when the tables went down, you grabbed the shooter. Yeah, I remember. Very brave of you. Those were the days. And look at me now. Those were the days indeed. Dankovsky, in case you've forgotten. And you are? Andrei Stamatin. Sentenced to death in 4 countries at your service. Rejoice and sing, those of you who are not looking for me to die. What were you sentenced to death for? You're not going to believe it. For my creations. The Downgate, the Alley of Heroes ensemble, the other stairway round. The House was specifically renounced by the World Association of Architects. Even though it's always been my little brother and me, I'm usually the one to take the beating. Really? I didn't even know all those things were your works. It's an honor to meet you.
Yes.
Hats off to the fine guest. Do get intoxicated with us, you prisoner of science. A girl named Anna Angel lives in the neighborhood. Is she the angel of Thunderstorm fame? No, that was another one. Also called Angel, yeah. Do you think Angel's a singer? No one has ever heard her sing, because she is not a singer at all. She's hiding from the powers that be here, and any noise scares her shitless. What was the crime? She claims to be a political case, but really, look at her. Does she really look like she belongs in the underground? She has nothing to do with the February Revolt, although, when there's smoke, there's fire. I think the sweet girl used to serve as a cover for the Ace of Diamonds caravan, and if my guess is correct, I wonder what her position was. We're all monsters here, see? A town of freaks, huh? Ace of Diamonds. There was a Guergano play about it. The Theater of Death, right? Right, the caravan. Don't you remember? The kidnapping story. The accusation of thimble riggers. Have you forgotten the orgy in the capital? They started killing street performers on sight. Our own Mark Immortel ended up on the run. I see. We already know who Mark Immortel is. He's the owner.
Who would have thought? The plague is on our doorstep.
Of the theater.
So, it has come to this.
Of the theater. Do you believe in prophecies, Andre Stamatin? It depends. I agree this may seem inconsistent with materialism. On the other hand, when your own experiences convince you to their effectiveness, you have to take them into account. Have you been foretold something? The day before yesterday, Katerina foretold my untimely death. Katerina is not talentless. That means you will die sooner or later. Nothing to be done about it. Uh-huh. I didn't take her word seriously either. Huh, but you should have, Bachelor Denkovsky. Katerina pales in comparison with the mistress of old, but there's no denying that. But the gift is in her blood. Do beware. Had Katerina foretold me that I was about to die unless I abandoned Twyring, I'd be off the bottle immediately. I can foretell you that without any blood gifts.
How's my brother? Any news on him?
You know, I haven't stopped by to talk to Andre Stamatin's brother, so we should do that, since we'll be up in that area anyway. Andre, what's your opinion of Victor Kane? Victor is a natural-born ruler. He could be doing it all by himself. It's Victor, not Gregory, who is Simon's true heir. But he wants to leave this place to further his education and get a degree. Treachery, if you ask me. Aren't you being too harsh on him? Not at all. The Kanes may seem unpredictable, may seem like unpredictable petty tyrants, but we have them to thank for the horrendous civil war passing our town by. The powers that be. Can't you see? Instead of building a utopia in this wreck of a country, they're tearing the last scraps of the good that had been done by their predecessors into even smaller scraps. Do you think it's easy to make a stand in a situation like this? Still can't see what Victor has to do with it. Well, somehow, and I can only explain it with sorcery, someone was able to redirect the games that the powers that be play away from our modest town. They never paid attention to us, never violated us, never touched us at all. And the town flourished. Victor was a good disciple to Simon. He'll manage to renew his achievement. Gregory won't. Then why hasn't Victor left yet? His love for Maria is holding him back. He sees Nina's ghost in her, after all. I can relate, too. Living in a town where everything reminds you of her is unbearable. But I'd rather see him grab the power and compel the town to make another turn and bringing it upwards. How about another drink? And you know, up at left-hand corner? We got to Twirene.
That's it. There's nothing left here. Run. Run!
Wow! I take it we're supposed to hear that statement from him a few days from now. I'm not looking forward to what happens to the town. If that's going to be the attitude of the average bound that we're going to talk to by then. Oh. So I discovered that pay attention to what you say. Obviously, we've known this all along, but you can get like free things pretty often from some of the bound if you suggest something that hints to such. Andre here, I think we can get up to 4 Twirenes from him, despite ending conversations agreeing to drink. What would you say about Maria? Maria? I'd say the brilliance of her talent is going to surpass even Nina's one day. Maria will be grabbing stars by the handful while sipping Earth's magma. I'm putting great hopes in her, and please note that I seriously mean it, not a hint of irony in my voice. What's the nature of her talent then? Every Cain possesses this gift, the ability to see the unseen and achieve the unachievable. This art doesn't have a name because very few people have mastered it. Maria is concealing her true power for the time being. It has already become apparent that she will stop at nothing when the time comes. Her sheer power will justify any despotism that would spring from it. Are you talking about her fortune-telling abilities? Why are you so obsessed with fortune-telling? You can't tell a person's fortune. It is a common man's delight. Although you definitely can catch a glimpse of the fortune of the people too weak to fight for it. Man is the sole architect of his fortune. No, I'm talking about the ability to drag the things that are naturally subtle and convert them into the daylight. The Cains can do that too. Yeah, sure. Please find a certificate verifying their dragging into the daylight talents attached to their wall. It's no fucking child's play. Not a trade that allows to start a small hole-in-the-wall business. If you need a lustre of magic tricks, go to the theater. Makes sense. No need to get so angry.
Who would have thought? The plague is on our doorstep. So, it has come to this.
Judging from that conversation we just had, I'm not sure what on earth he was referring to. This is one of the situations where the translation is somewhat, I think, poor. But I'm fairly certain that, as I've mentioned in the past, the Cains have the ability to manipulate math and or like angles in such a way that they can create structures or space that is impossible. Tell me about Grace. Grace? Ah, the corpse lover's daughter. What is there to tell? The daughter of the caretaker of the cemetery. He used to drink like a fish and got his baby girl addicted to Twirene too. Driven her mother to an early grave, and would have driven the daughter too had he not died of that shit himself. He offered her Twirene since she was a child? Uh-huh. She's not much of a talker. The dead offer her company more often than the living. She used to look after the graves since she was a child, and that obviously messed with her little head. She's a guardian spirit of the local cemetery, just like the Mother Superior is of the guardian spirit of the termitary. The Mother Superior? Who is she? The daughter of the Commandant. She is like the Ant Queen of the whole Doss house. Rumor has it, the monsters tend to get her every need, spoon-feeding the girl. I'd like to have a look. Well, I never.
Why do you all come here to gawk at me?
Because we have to in order to talk to you, Andre. Listen, why does any attempt to examine a dead body lead to so many complications around here? A hole in any body is a very intimate thing. Even your natural orifices are better closed off or covered. Cover your mouth when you yawn, else your soul may fly out. Cower in the corner when you defecate. Cover yourself with sheets and darkness when you copulate. It's the orifices, rather than people, that make all those processes taboo. What are you driving at, Andre? And the unnatural holes. Don't even get me started. Who can tell if the body wants to be opened? How is it meant to be cut? A carcass only welcomes the touch of a master. The cut of a master follows the line that liberates the body from itself. Haven't you ever, how'd you put it, created unnatural holes in bodies? You seem to have mastered the art of knifing. Ha! The issue my good Daniel, is that I've mastered the art of penciling. Even better, did you kill someone with a pencil? Save your salt for someone else's wound. If only it were a man. It's just a theory, though. Let us drink to bold endeavors, bachelor. Let us fucking open up everything that's supposed to lie hidden under wraps. No need to restrict ourselves. We may as well be hanged as sheep for a lamb. Thank you. I'd rather take a bottle to drink off the premises, though. And we get another twirine, yeah!
My condolences to the new governor.
If you care for your body so much, how come there are so many murderers roaming the streets? Am I not supposed to hurt them too? Ah, the bastards deserve to be exterminated. No one will punish you for killing a criminal. An official decree was just announced by Soborov's men. Are you planning to get your hands dirty too? And why not? Muggers and killers hold nothing sacred, so they are exempt from the sacred laws and traditions. They pulled their knives first. You're free to disembowel them, tear their arms off, and perforate them to your heart's content. I'm glad to hear that. Alright, and that's all Andre has to say for us. I think maybe... I'm pretty sure we can get another twirine from him. But I think I messed up one of the conversation's topics that I had done. Okay, let's quick save. Alright, so... Our next... Oh, we did not stop by and talk to Anna, so I guess we should... I completely passed her house right by. No, I did stop by. She had nothing to say to us. Alright, so let's go ahead and visit the food store first. And then we're going to be going to the rod. I'm not quite going to talk to the child yet because I know we'll be back up in this area. So, let's be honest with you guys. I had reloaded my game when I failed Day 3's main quest, and I wanted to see what the proper procedure would have been to complete that day's quest. So I have a little bit of knowledge about what's going to happen to us this day. We're going to get a quest from Vlad if I do decide to go along with his agreement. And we'll be sent back up to this area in order to find some butchers that will have gone missing. I'm sorry, butchers will be brought up into the infected district in order to dissect different bodies, and we'll have to locate them. Alright, hello, sir. Bread, immediate purchase. And I want these as well. Yep, I want all of those. Can I sell some things? I'm gonna sell our drapery. We have too much stuff, so I need to begin trying to recover some of what I've lost. Do I want to sell these? $270? No, we won't sell the tourniquets. I will sell both of the lockpicks, though. I think that will do. And we should eat. Now we could sneak in the back. You know what? Let's do that. Let's avoid the infected district at the moment. Though it's right around the corner there. And we'll walk in and talk to Katerina. I think the last time we were here and we met her, saw her, I think Carla was here as well. Oh, sorry, Clara was here as well. Look at the clock. All right, we've been playing for about 10 minutes so far. All right, Tim, you already recorded a little bit of this. Ah, Clara is here.
I'm afraid I'm of little use now.
You are a lucky person, Bachelor Dankovsky. Well, I'm most certainly not. Can I help you? Any updates on what's in store? Actually, no, we'll go with this. Because, once again, I'm playing my Bachelor as if he doesn't believe in the clairvoyant stuff. Who can grant me the permission to work with dead bodies? The body is a riddle. Only a butcher knows how to disjoint the wholeness of a bull carcass. There are but a few people in the kin who can dissect a man. The wardens, whose families have been keeping this rite for many generations. Isidore Barak was one of them. His knife pierced many a body, and always with great success. I don't need an autopsy. I only need to extract a blood sample. Still, dissecting the dead is taboo. It's not a rule, but rather a custom with its meaning long forgotten. Some people in Earth still preserve the memory of the terrible nature of this knowledge. Unluckily for you, the majority of the patrol guard volunteers are steppe people. You mean the patrol wouldn't just be passive, but would rather actively try to murder me for doing our common job? In that case, how are they helpful at all? Who can I rely on? The few people whose fates are now bound to yours will always be there to help you. Your fame is getting greater and greater by the day. They'll be eager to give you anything you might need and offer their advice. But they won't help me with work with dead tissue. So examine the dead bodies at your own risk. If you're spotted, just do your best and flee the scene before you're attacked. Find the clothes that would hide your identity. Although I'm in no position to give such advice, I haven't been outside for a long time. I'm all about what's inside. Thank you. Katerina gives us a fabric.
See? I'm not trying to interfere with your work. Each of us has their own way.
I shall see to it that the people of Gobos Taglor, who will of necessity have to surrender their lives to me, will not have given them in vain. The new generation will not include mortal enemies. The new world will be built on universal love and concord. Are you intending to build a new world? Yes. We'll exterminate all those who try to play the antagonism of day and night, or of reason and the earth to their own advantage. We'll exterminate those who've made the Ogimsky and Kane clans the banners of this war. We'll exterminate those who've used the powers of the Dream Mistresses and the will of the heads of the houses to fan the flames of this meaningless strife. To what end? Someone's going to have to cleanse away the filth. The party of the humble will lay itself upon the altar of the common good, and people will hate us instead of mourning our sacrifice. Only those we take with us will grow to love us. This is what will be. Thus say I, and the mistress heeds my words. So how are you going to cleanse away the filth? They'll exterminate themselves. Everyone is at risk now, and death will more than once raise its scythe over many. And these days, death is bound to raise its scythe above every link of the Taglor. So, a heads up, the Taglor is another term for the bound, is what she's referring to. I believe this refers to, the Goblos Taglor stands for, Taglor stands for kin circle, which is something that the steppe people referred to for a tightly bound group of people. And Gobo was an epic ballad that the people here are aware of. And so in this case, it deals with the most important people, most important group of people. Simon Kane had used this term to refer to the bound. I know this because, having done day one multiple times now, there's a lot of lore that we missed, so I want to fill you in on that. But since we foresee these moments, we'll mercifully save many from this terrible reaping. Has Governor Sabarov heard this diatribe yet? Right, that we don't like the Changeling very much. I don't think she likes us very much either. Alright, time to ask Alexander Subarov if we can have permission to dissect the dead bodies.
That's okay, I'll make it. I'm made of wood.
Wow. Well, you don't look it. Normally those people have antlers coming out of their head. And, mud. They eat mud as well. I should know. We spent 47 days of hell in Darkwood before. We are doing worse than ever. The infection is spreading. What makes you say that? The disease is spreading quickly. The neighboring district is almost entirely steeped in infection by now. And even though the powers that be have informed me that help is on the way, I doubt that they're aware of the rate of spread. But let's not lose hope. What are you working on now? I intend to start studying the pathologic culture now, which is why I'd like to ask for your help. What kind of help can I offer you? I need equipment. I found out by chance that Isidore's laboratory was ransacked during the recent riots. I'd be grateful if you found the perpetrators and confiscated what they had looted. Yes, I've heard that. They're already being investigated. However, I would not call Barak's dwelling a laboratory. It was more of a workshop. There weren't many valuables there. Still, I will let you know when the stolen items are recovered. Thank you.
Haruspex and his kind band together. That's a good enough reason.
I suspect when he says that, he's hinting as to why he is forming his own group. So I'm getting the impression that you might remember the dream. Well, it's been several episodes now, but the theater performance we had during the dawn of day 2 about the 3 heads of the dragon looking in like 3 different directions. I think that represents, again, the Kanes, the Olgimskis, and the Soborov families. But I also think that each of us PCs, the Changeling, the Haruspex, and the Bachelor, I think we all choose a team. You'll note that the Kanes are on my team. I suspect that for the Changeling, Soborovs are part of hers. And this would mean that for the Haruspex, the Olgimskis are part of his. Your wife says the strangest things. Do you think so? And have you met Clara yet, Bachelor? I've heard her described as a zealous person with a mesmerizing voice and the hands that can heal any affliction. I also just had the pleasure. Isn't that girl a bit of a megalomaniac? Clara really does possess unusual abilities. It's true that she can inspire love and trust at first sight. It's also true that her touch is imbued with a remarkable energy, a healing power. However, the nature of that power remains a mystery to me. What is your own opinion of her? I have long been paying special attention to that girl. But, I repeat, I still know nothing about her, despite having talked to her throughout the last few days, and I cannot explain the facts that I have witnessed. It would be interesting to hear your opinion. Why did you mention Clara at all? I just wanted to find out how well you know her. I've heard some rumors, and I know by now what local gossip is worth. Not to be ignored, but not to be taken literally either, if one cares about one's sanity.
Neither the sun nor death can be looked at without winking.
Where will
Who said that?
Where will the hospital be set up? Vlad Ogimsky is in charge of this matter. He has agreed to provide funds and manpower. Talk to him. What about burials? Who has assumed responsibility for burying the deceased? The volunteers don't see a danger there for now. The townspeople are coping on their own. Why does that interest you? I need tissue samples for someone who died of the sand fever.
What?
I need to work with dead bodies, as I just mentioned. I was told that this work demands your sanction. Is that true? I regret that no one can help you here. Local superstition prohibits any violation of the body's integrity. Add a cult of the dead on top. If they see you dissecting a corpse, they might tear you to pieces. It has already happened once. How was such a bizarre tradition born? I am not the best expert on the kin. Ask the residents of Earth District. I'm sure they can tell you more, although they are not particularly talkative. Ask Big Vlad. He has promised to assist you in every way. The cunning hypocrite. Very well, but I don't need dead tissues for my own entertainment. I need them in order to fight the disease. I understand, but there's nothing I can do. Let us pretend this conversation never happened. You might want to turn to your new acquaintances. As far as I can judge, they are ready to do anything you ask. I'll do that then. I should hope the infected districts have already reconsidered this reactionary, prejudiced stance. This difficulty could be resolved by some rather sinister people. I'm talking about butchers. Butchers, rather obviously, have no qualms about cutting bodies. Tradition gives them a hereditary right to perform this sacred act. This also might be a reference to the inheritance that I've heard people talk about in regards to why the Haruspecs might have killed Isidore Barak. Not for money, but for the right to do this. But I think he was probably framed. I don't think he actually probably murdered his own father. I've had the pleasure of meeting one of them, and he was a fugitive criminal. Of course. Olgimsky had them locked up after another one of their strikes. And this is interesting. See how he used the word strikes instead of riots? This is because the Olgimskys probably believe that these are riots and that what they're probably striking for is of no consequence. They don't want to give them better living conditions. Soborov, apparently, though, does care about them somewhat. However, it is said that on the eve of the blockade, a group of butchers did not make it back to the cemetery on time. Someone is hiding them. There's a house here on Earth whose dwellers know who it is. Take a chance. Thank you. Excellent advice. We are told to go to Aspides. So I'm thinking we will stop by Peter Stamatin's studio first. And then what? And then we'll sweep around like this and go down to Aspides. If I can reach an agreement with the concealers, then the runaway butchers might help provide dead bodies for my autopsies. I have heard rumor of a house here, somewhere in Earth, where the criminal workers of the abattoir go into hiding. Yep, we were already there once. Alright, everyone. Infected district time. Let's see, I'm going to try to show you how this works. See that? We can see the disease using our lens, even from this distance. We probably should have some of that. I wanted to visit Andrei Stamatin. I'm going in the completely wrong direction, but it's too late now. We'll have to visit him later. Rats. I love the music in this place. Hello, sir. The affected areas are strictly off limits. Keep out. I've been granted emergency powers. You must have been informed by the governor. I'm Bachelor Dankovsky. Oh, yes, sir. We were, sir. I apologize. Better safe than sorry. Come through. But keep in mind, they're all crazed, mad, and insane in there. Possessed. If they attack you, go ahead and run anywhere, but do not kill them. We'll have to intervene and beat you within an inch of your life, for they are innocent and in pain. So they're going to attack me, but not you? How in the world does that work? Well, you is darker. We patrol people have nothing to offer them but a good old blow on the head, and we won't let them out. They tried to escape. There's no denying that. They did. We taught them a lesson, though. And we're protected, too. Thanks to you. Protected? Yes, sir. They distributed them pills among us. Told us 'twas on your orders. Told us they're very much a good remedy to invigorate the body, but bad for the heart. Also, they make it so that your blood doesn't curdle no more, but rather fills them veins, making them bursty and thus shabby. Am I saying it right? You seem to be describing cardiovascular diseases. In which case, yes, you are correct. A bullet. How much is a bullet worth to you? 2. Okay, so we're better off trading for bullets with the children. Food. How much is this worth? 5 for vegetables. I don't know if 5's worth it for vegetables. That's a moving plague cloud. I do want to go up that way, right? There's food up that way. There's a food store up that way. We know food stores aren't closed. Sir, let's barter with you. Nothing. All right. Let's barter with you really quick. Okay. Dried meat. Well, that's worth 5 too. Interesting. How much does dried meat? Dried meat is about 12 to 14%, and vegetables is about the same. Could trade for 2 of it. Sure. Let's do that. And he'll accept Twirine, and it's worth 2 to him, each bottle of that. Good morning, sir. Yes! Bread. I know, peanut. Hey, we'll take a peanut. Okay, now we're out of cash. All the way south to Aspidy's house. How are we looking? We're beginning to get tired. If we end up near the canes, we'll try to rest for a little bit. Hello, girl. Do you want to ask me something? Yes. Have you tested our schmouters? I haven't. We have a bullet and I have a hook. That is good enough. Do I want the rifle ammo? I think I do. Let's get another rifle bullet. That's worrying. Seeing like workmen looking sick and or tired. Like this person, I think many people are beginning to get sick. Alright, Aspedy, we return to talk with you. She's not one of our bound, correct? Andre Starmatin, Gregory Kane, Victor Kane, Peter Starmatin, Maria Kana, Eva Yan, Mark. No, he's not.
Is the disease really contagious? Yes, it is, undoubtedly.
Please touch me. Do I have a fever? Do you know anything about how the disease is transmitted? I know everything. So, the infection goes straight to the head. It talks to you a bit with this little inner voice, and then it moves in completely. For a while, the tenant is rather troublesome, and the body makes for a lousy lodging. It breaks apart all too easily. And so the disease leaves it, and moves along to find someone else. Poetry aside, sounds plausible. Who said anything about poetry? You're missing the point. It doesn't touch the next person as long as it's comfortable with the current one. Who told you that? Internal relations, bachelor. You wouldn't understand. I can visualize this crazy gallop. If you manage to distract it, make it shift its attention to others, you'll live. When the sandpest starts talking to you, pretend to be someone else, and you'll trick it. But that would be a rather mean trick, wouldn't it?
What's wrong with my eyes?
I don't know. You're concealing runaway butchers in this very house, Aspedy. Well, crucify me. What's this about? Running more errands for the Olgimskis? No, this time I've come of my own accord. I need your help. Well, I gotta hear that. Why on earth would the wise serpent seek anyone's help? I need the tissue of a sand plague victim. You can only find dead victims in the infected houses. Since you appear to be alive, you've never entered a single one of them. You will have 5 to 10 minutes if you do. Then the infection strikes, with the expected results. Perhaps you could find a single runaway that would agree to help? What would he want in return? Perhaps I could find a lot of runaways that would agree to help, if only I asked them to. And the same me will ask you for a favor then. Will you do me one? I will. Go ahead and speak. You're influential with Ogimski. Use that influence. Tell him to stop persecuting the runaways. It's no longer a revenge situation, but he's still all too eager. Takes the guy quite some time to calm down, huh? Anyway, if he swears to leave alone the butchers that are now outside the termitary, I'll talk 3 runaways into risking their lives. It's not like they have anything to lose anyway. I didn't say the game before I talked to her. I'll try. All right. Let's quick save. No new letters yet today. They have no regard for human life, it seems. 3 lives were given in exchange for Ogimski's promise to cease the persecution of the runaway tradesmen. 2 o'clock. Back to the Ogimskis, then. Fastest way there. Guess we can swing past these shops. Oh, nice. Say hello to the drunk as well. Hello, sir. How about we barter? You have nothing. I think, Tim, you passed one of the... No, one of these stores right up ahead on the left, I believe. Hello, miss. You have nothing to talk to me about either. Last time, I think we were able to trade for some boots. I wouldn't mind having a pair of those. Let's see if we can get lucky and get one here. Nope, but there is a pin. I'll take a pin. Another pin. Nice. That one's free. And speaking of free, we have 3 coins. Alright, everyone, what we talked about. So, something I was thinking about for this game is, you know why I like it a lot? And I think a little bit of it is because it reminds me of the book Dune from a long time ago. That book had all this political intrigue in it, and all these different households who were vying for power and control over the planet Arrakis. And this time, they're still vying for power and control, but I like the idea of these houses having, like, political intrigue and trying to maneuver for power despite the fact that there's a horrific epidemic running rampant through the town. It adds to the theme, and I can totally see people, powerful people, not wanting to give up that power, even if it could help save lives, they'd still hold on to it in their attempt to, and still attempt to use people and what have you, in their attempt to benefit from the epidemic. Oh, we should go into one of these stores. They might have antibiotics. Hello, sir. And you do! 3 antibiotics. They're rather expensive, actually, and I can't afford them straight off the bat. Means I'll have to sell some things. So let's sell the drapery. I can sell a gold coin. Maybe 2 razors? I don't really like selling razors, because those can be traded with the little boys for their drugs. But I still need more if I want that. So let's, I don't really have much left. I can really afford to trade. Oh, bullets are worth 216 each. Let's sell another ring. We already talked to Capella, so we don't need to talk to her again quite yet. Not until we go up and test the Schmouder. Let's go ahead and stop in here.
This girl is dangerous. Very dangerous. No one can resist her.
The changeling is who he's talking about. The Skinners, yes. That was one nasty day, wouldn't you agree? You're in charge of the hospital now, aren't you? We're already busy starting it. Do you want to know more? Is that the only reason why you've come? Yes, please tell me what measures you have taken. Do you think we ought to report to you, my dear doctor? Although there's nothing to hide, our town has no suitable buildings. Someone suggested we found a hospital in an abandoned house, but the conditions... What about the conditions? It turned out to be very tricky to provide the patients with water. You may not have been told about it, but the water supply has been blocked and partially destroyed. Rumor has it that the water intake and even the river are already contaminated. Barrels are the only source of drinking water right now. Where are the patients taken to? To the cemetery, dear doctor. The mortality rate is absolute. You're supposed to know that better than anyone, including me. The dying need only water and morphine. Sometimes vodka too. They can depart to the better world painlessly then. Which of these would be best? If we do find a way to combat the disease, having the hospital would be good. We could order him to do that. We can say that what he has isn't enough. That's, we'll pass on that. Check your warehouse, every store that may still have medicine left. Confiscate everything you find. No, that's not going to work. That doesn't release us from the obligation to build a hospital. Report to me as soon as the facility is equipped.
What?
Have you heard anything about the Ripper? Yes, I've heard the rumors. Several bodies missing from the cemetery. Nevertheless, you must realize a single person couldn't have done it. There must be several people. One man just couldn't appear in several places at once over such a short night. But you'll have a chance to see that for yourself soon. Could it have been young Barak? Pray forgive me. No, it couldn't have been him. All this time, young Barak's mind was busy with one thing only. Isidore's death and his inheritance. He had no time for corpses, believe me. Besides, Barak is a steppe person. Even though he was brought up elsewhere, he honors the right. Fine, I believe you.
Swine. Beasts. I shouldn't have indulged their whims.
I need a detailed report on the amount of pharmaceutical drugs we have. I'm happy to relieve your mind, Doctor. We're distributing protective and preventative drugs daily among the townsfolk. Even the antibiotics. We've selected the drug agents from the list you gave us yesterday. Are you satisfied? We could say we would like some of that, and I would like some of that. Actually, I was planning to be the first to have access to the confiscated drugs. You were not there. And now I am forced, by your hand, if I might add, to report to Governor Sobolov. I had no time to hesitate, Bachelor. I'm sorry. The drugs have been confiscated and sealed up. It's a result, too. Well, I'm glad you've finally given me the credit I deserve. The kings have also given out everything they had, though they had less than me. And it's easier to give out things when you're poor as a church mouse. I completely disagree with that statement. It is tougher to give away things when you're poor, because you need everything you have that much more, I think. At least when it comes to the important things, like, money, medicine, it's really tough to give that up. You can't easily get it again. It's your duty. More than once I have heard you being called a ruler. The title implies certain obligations.
Who could have thought? So an outbreak is upon us?
I'd like to offer you a bargain, Booze Vlad. It has to do with your fugitives. Oh, come now. To my mind, there's nothing to discuss here. However, a good bargain always catches my attention. So, I want you to stop pursuing them. What do you want in return? What's in it for you? I need the right that this caste seems to possess. They will dissect bodies for me. Ah, I see. Yes. This is a respectable motivation. A single butcher will suffice for this. No, he won't. It's a dangerous and complicated task that will require many hands. Oh, come now. Any cutthroat can help you then. Try to make a deal with Bad Grief's bandits. That's the loss no one's ever going to grieve about. And they're definitely knife happy. The rights of the kin and our own traditions mean nothing for them. In that case, I think I know a person of dubious reputation who will help me. I mean the son of Barak, who's managed to clear himself of one charge only to get accused again immediately. Do you want me to ask and find Artemy Barak, Vlad? Or wait a minute. I think we can find a different agreement. I'm listening. Let me see. I know what I'm going to ask. As a payment for my butchers. It's the unique resource you own. The one I'll never get my hands on. What is it? Your influence with the Canes. I'll cease to pursue the butchers if Gurgly ceases to pursue young Burke. That's right, Barak. He isn't guilty. He has an airtight alibi against all charges, which I am willing to confirm. Let them leave him alone. Agreed? Again, I think Artemy Barak, the Horospex, gets the Olgimskis as his bound, as we've seen Clara choose Soborovs as theirs, and as we have chosen Kane's as ours. Or actually, rather, as Maria Kane has informed us that they are our bound. Why do you care for Isidore's son so much? We have a common goal. I see. So you're saying he's completely innocent, right? Indeed. Indeed. And I'd rather you convince Reuben that young Barak has nothing to do with Isidore's tragic death. The thick-headed Reuben is the last one who still needs convincing anyway. The boy might be labeled a patricide, as if he hasn't had enough. You do see Reuben from time to time, I know that. And I'd rather you avoided telling around that I know where Reuben is. I haven't finished yet. Apart from that, I wish they stopped torturing me about the Termitary. I'm tired of repeating that it's clean. That is why it was closed in the first place. This is what I really want to stick with. Because I haven't examined the Termitary myself, and I really heavily suspect that there is disease rampant in that place. But if I do that, we lose Andre Stamatin. And at least I'm not going to do that here. Not with this doctor. Maybe we'll come back to this game a year from now or so, and I'll choose answers. Like, I'm hoping we're actually able to get to the end of the game. We probably won't. I'll probably reach a situation where it will be too difficult for me to proceed onward. But if we do beat the game, I'll have a better idea of what each day, what was involved each day. There's no way I'm going to forget. This game is amazing. So maybe I'll be willing to risk a bound getting sick or even dying if it changes the story a little. And in particular, if I don't agree that there's nothing wrong with the Termitary without actually having investigated it. You know what? You've just suggested an excellent idea to me. How about this? You stop the persecution, and I'll kindly spare the Canes my opinion on what's inside the Termitary. In a way, I guess this isn't necessarily bad, because we desperately need butchers to get bodies for us, so that we can get a blood sample. Without that, we can't fight the disease. And no one else in this town is going to help us. In fact, they'll stop us from doing so. So we have no choice, I suppose, but to do this. At least that's what I'm going with at this moment. For goodness sake, if you put it like this. Yes, certainly. Certainly. I was going to, well... It's no matter now. Now that the skinless is infected, and just like the crude spore before it, you have my word as a merchant. The thing is, I know you as a man of honor. Damn it. I'm glad we have an agreement, Booze Vlad. By the way, Booze means leader, or chief, I believe. The word of a merchant provides a reliable assurance. Olgiski has become strangely pliable. Apparently, he is mostly troubled by the Termitary. It's become a kind of Achilles heel to him. It's interesting to note that he asked me to solicit for young Barak as he stands accused before the Canes. Could it be that something is wrong here?
Many a mickle.
Alright everyone, I think we've been playing for like 30 minutes or so we will stop here because it's been now an hour for the episode, and when we come back, we will do more this day. I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching, and take care everyone.